To America by James Weldon Johnson. How would you have us, as we are? Or sinking 'neath the load we bear? Our eyes fixed forward on a star? Or gazing empty at despair? Rising or falling, men or things, with dragging pace or footsteps fleet, strong, willing sinews in your wings, or tightening chains about your feet.
My name is Noah J., and I'm a senior in the class of 2023. For my Portrait of the People project, I chose James Weldon Johnson. He was born on June 17, 1871, and died June 26, 1938. For a little background, Johnson was born in Jacksonville, Florida, and took many aspects of his childhood into his future careers. For example, his mother's love of music and literature infiltrated its way into Johnson's composer career and writing for musical theater later in college. In regards to the beginnings of his career, he started post-college. He graduated from Atlanta University in 1984 and returned to his hometown in Jacksonville, Florida to teach at Stanton Elementary, a school for Black students. While at Stanton, he made changes and upgraded his career. He became principal, expanding the school to include high school students, and studied law as well, being the first Black man to be admitted to the Florida bar since Reconstruction. Later on, in 1901, he moved in with his brother to New York City to write for musical theater. While in New York, Johnson met many people and eventually started making important connections that would lead him into his career in diplomacy. While in New York, his brother and him composed over 200 songs for Broadway. Clearly, he made his mark on musical theater and the Black community's prosperity as a whole. This was only the beginning for him. Following his songwriting and musical career, he started working in diplomacy, serving as treasurer for the Colored Republican Club. He was then sent directly by President Roosevelt to be a United States consul in Venezuela in 1906. He served there and then moved to Nicaragua to serve again 3 years later. Even during this era of politics and diplomacy, he continued to write poetry and literature. One of these consisted of the autobiography of an ex-colored man, which told the story of hardships of the post-Reconstruction era and being biracial. With the influx of protests, legislation changes, and fights for liberation, Johnson thought it was his duty to leave the diplomacy to follow a career in civil rights activism. In 1916, he became a field secretary for the NAACP, or the National Association for the Advancement of Colored People. Wishing this civil rights organization to advance justice for African Americans, he opened new branches and expanded leadership. In addition to this work, he also campaigned for a federal anti-lynching bill and spoke at the 1919 National Conference on Lynching. By 1919, he had moved his way up to the NAACP's executive secretary. He used this position of leadership to fight against issues such as voter disenfranchisement and segregation in the South. He held this esteemed position for over a decade, where he then decided to retire. In recognition of his great accomplishments and literary achievements, he taught creative writing at Fisk University in Nashville. Overall, James Weldon Johnson was an avid supporter of civil rights and used his literary talents and leadership skills to make a difference. As a distinguished lawyer, diplomat, secretary, professor, and more, Johnson made his mark on the world. Thank you.